Y'all ready? They ready?
Oh my God!
Y'all ready? They ready? We ready? We ready? Come on, we ready?
Dive for that, J-Mo. Get up. Use that 19-inch vertical. Oh, but you. Trying to get fancy out here.
Question about who the best. Basing on later tracking hard to come to do the rest. Step in the way, multiple to going through you. You must have gone past the target, boy. You was blessed.
Today is February 21st. It's one of my best friend's birthday back at home. Shout out Wade Thompson.
We're just kind of like a good fucking like yawn or a good scratching. Just changes the dynamic of the day if you get like a nice fucking yawn or scratch or stretching. Can really just make or break it.
This week was primarily focused for me on three things. We have the new gauntlet game, which we talked about in the last vlog, so I won't get too deep into it, but we did another test run. I feel like we got a little bit tighter. We got a little bit, more in tune with what the game should be.
I think we're like 90% there, which probably means like 60%. But when you guys are watching this Thursday, the day after Friday, we are recording the gauntlet for real. It should be out in the following week. So now it's like confusing for you guys to probably understand at that point. But next time we try out the new game, it should be official. It will be recorded for real, and we will turn it into a real YouTube episode for you guys to watch, give us feedback, let us know what to fix. Because like I said, even though I think we're a good chunk of the way there, it's always good to get a mass opinion from you guys to see things from an outside perspective of what could be better, what needs to be eliminated, what needs to be added. And you guys do a great job at letting us know. Even though it could be a little mean sometimes, you do a great job of making sure we're always getting better. For example, we did a podium trivia last week with Price is Right. And you guys shit on the new setup because validly so, because the audio wasn't like beautiful. But now we know next time if we want to go back to the podium setup, the audio needs to be better. It's just good to always be better.
For some reason, I don't know why, I really thought it was live today. Like I thought this was our final go. Wasn't. I did try to put the wheel up on the wall, and the one thing we did find out is that with it on the wall, it will go extremely fast and then go back the other way and always land on one category. So I have to figure that out. Probably maybe put it back on the stand. For some reason, my OCD or whatever, I hate it on the stand. Like I like it on the wall. I like less things, like the setup. I like the less is more type of vibe. Yeah, super excited. Hopefully you guys like that. I won't be here for the taping of the first episode though. I will be in Vegas or coming home from Vegas on that day.
We're getting in the right spot for it. I feel good about today's game. It went smoothly. So Gauntlet's going to be, I think it'll probably be edited and live on the channel at some point the next week, maybe Tuesday, maybe Friday. I don't really know. I don't know what goes on in my company anymore. Outside of that, other content, I've started to put content on the Dynasty fantasy football channel. So if you guys are fantasy players and you haven't tried out Dynasty as a league, we're putting them together in our Discord for people that are new and want to get into a league with other people that are also like trying to be in it for the long term. Because that's one of the tough parts about playing in a Dynasty league is you need people that are committed for the long term there because you are playing for forever, right? And we could find obviously people in our audience that are like that. So if you want in, make sure you subscribe to that channel. I've started to put videos out for that, getting into higher and higher volume, covering a lot of players that are coming into the draft. So that becomes my focus really like right now. And then outside of that,
Talk to JL about building a game for us. Talk to a couple of SMS marketing companies to possibly see if BDG wants to get like a business phone number to text you guys, text our fans. That shit is expensive. Feels like when I was going through the calls with a couple companies, it felt like, okay, I'm about to pay the same amount of money as if we were to hire like a serious position at BDG. So it was like a real check, like, is this worth it? Like, is it worth texting you motherfuckers out there right there? Is it better just me and Nick to communicate and everyone to communicate with your vlog, Discord, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, every other platform we use? However, door's not closed. We're going to continue those meetings and see maybe there's a world where we can negotiate, figure it out, and text you boys something. Booty pics from the office. Other meetings is about partnerships, like I said. One of the partnerships in the works is signing a longer deal with Factor Meals. Today we recorded some footage around the meals because we did it about a month or two ago when we had a 1 month or 2 month long deal with them. But if we're going to sign a long-term deal, I don't want to use the same videos every single time to throw it in trivias for you guys to watch. I want some fresh advertisement footage to throw out there into the market. Pretty cool to negotiate that deal because talk about it too much just because it's not technically signed yet, so I don't want to like jinx anything. It was like verbally, what's the right word? It was like agreed over email, like, yes, that worked. Is that still verbally if there's no actual out loud words exchanged? There was an email handshake confirming the deal. It's a mutual agreement. The cool part about it for me, this was the first time it was a deal. This was like gonna be the biggest deal for the trivia channel. And when they first offered it to us, I was like, this is already like a pretty cool offer for us to jump in and take and say yes to. But I was like, I think we can ask for more. So I countered with a higher number and they actually said yes. And that was like the coolest thing ever for me. And that's why I like partnerships so much. Like the negotiating part is like the cool, interesting part of like, I'm not trying to gyp them over. I'm like just trying to see like, can I pull this off? Like, can I persuade them? Can I convince them, show them like we are worth this much, not this much? And verbally, mutually, emailally said yes. Contract's supposed to be signed. Hopefully by the time you're watching this is a Friday. You guys are watching it next Thursday. Should be signed by then. If not, I'm completely jinxed this. Another call I had this week was Sexy talking about running back the trivia tournament that we had last summer. Yes, I did win the trivia tournament last summer. I know there might be some talks. Am I going to be able to do it again? I don't know, because this time we're trying to make it bigger and better by bringing on some serious competition to the couch. It's going to be, I think, a 12 or 13 person tournament again, but it is not going to be just like the guys in the office. We're bringing on other content creators, other YouTube creators, and it's going to be pretty fun. I think it's going to be awesome. And the meeting we had this week was about seeing, can we get one of our sponsors to sponsor that tourney? So a lot of dough talk, bread talk, money talk this week for the BDGE partnership side of things.
Can't really disclose too much about this, but I do feel like it's something that's important enough to me and really on top of my mind enough that I would like to talk through this a bit. Basically, we start to look at our larger partnerships at this point of the year. Like, we are partners with Underdog Fantasy right now. They are our big partner in the space. And working with them means that we are not allowed to work with companies like FanDuel or DraftKings, any competing type of company in the fantasy DFS sportsbook space. And we're usually on a 1 to 2 year deal with them. Right now we're on a 2 year deal, but that expires in April. So we start to talk with them about longer term plans. It's almost like we as creators, brands, companies hit the free agency. We hit the market there and we start to talk with Underdog and we start to talk about future plans and like re-signing with them and what does it look like 1 year, 3 years, financially, how do we structure this deal so it sets us up for longer term success. And just to give you a little bit of like a sneak peek behind the curtain there, when I was younger and I would negotiate these deals before there was any sort of overhead, when I was just making videos at my apartment, a lot of the times you wouldn't really need a ton of like financial stability in those deals because it came with a lot of upside, right? Like every time someone signed up for a website or a partner that you were promoting, you would end up getting paid money for it. And that's still the case nowadays, but we value more like cash upfront as a business because we need more security to pay rent and pay employees and pay all these other, fixed variable fees that we have right now. That didn't make sense. Fixed and variables are two different things, but fixed fees. That's kind of the deal that we're negotiating through. And this will be a multiple month process. Like we've already started the discussions and the negotiations dating back like 2 or 3 weeks. And it's something that I think will probably push all the way into March, if not early April right now. So that is occupying a lot of my headspace. It's not that different. I know this will probably be out of the kind of ballpark for a lot of people, but when companies start, like when there's like a startup company, there's usually a few people that start the company, right? There's like the CEO, there's like 2 other mainstream people that kind of split the equity in the company. The CEO's role for the most part is like going around and fundraising. It's like going to investors and pitching like, this is why you should invest in our company. That is like their full-time role. And that's a little bit of the role that I'm in right now. We're actually working with Snapback Agency. So Jack runs Snapback Sports. He also has an agency where his business partner, Alex, runs the agency, and basically they represent creators and brands, and they get deals done with anyone. It could be Underdog, it could be Nike, it could be Dunkin' Donuts. It doesn't really matter, but we're working with them to handle this negotiation, and I'm loving how it's gone so far in terms of them handling it. And that's something that I've kind of struggled with as a creator when I was younger, because you don't know. I'm not going to say anyone's ever taken advantage of me, but I just don't know what strings to pull. I don't know what buttons to push. I don't know like where you can get a little bit more creative in the negotiations. And I've obviously learned a lot along the, you know, the long period of time that I've been working in the industry. But it's nice to have an objective party that can speak for you and really like put a price on the value that you give. Because a lot of times when I'm speaking of BDGE, like I can be emotional, right? And I don't know if I'll overvalue it. Sometimes I'll undervalue. I don't know. There's just a lot of emotions involved, and it's nice to have a third party in there that can do that part of the process for you. So we are working through that right now, and that is what my main focus is right now. So everybody else is kind of, you know, running the gambit here, doing their own thing, and excited to hopefully have that wrapped up within the next like month or so.
Other shit happening this week. We may or may not be going to the field this weekend to essentially have our fake unofficial tryouts of who's doing what on the team. Tony's convinced he's gonna like have a serious shot at quarterback. I think it's just still gonna be gut at the end of the day, but while we're having the tryouts, I need to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm excited to see it this weekend if we actually end up going.
JMO said possibly going to the field. I have been at the field by myself in my town, like running sprints. Actually, that's literally it. Running sprints, doing some field work. And this week we're doing our fake tryout, hopefully, other than Nick. So it might just be me, JMO, Gut, Tony. Maybe Casey, I'm not really too sure. And we'll see how that goes. I'm going to try to get footage of it. I'll try to get as much as I can. Maybe Nick has Ray-Ban glasses, so maybe I'll try to wear those to get some like first-person shooter type mode.
First-person shooter.
It is right now.
Made out the group chat to the niggas that say they don't office. You better be talking about working in cubicles. Yeah, them boys had a lot, but I knew the code. A lot of niggas debating my numero. Not the 3, not the 2 on the UNO. Yeah. Numero UNO.
QB1 out here.
This shit like the Super Bowl. Man, this shit done it big as the... Big as the what? Big as the what? Big as the what?
Die for that, JMO.
Big as the Super Bowl, but the difference is it's just two guys playing shit that they did in the studio. Niggas usually send their verses back to me and they be terrible, just like a 2-year-old. I love a dinner with some fine women when they start debating about who the GOAT. I'm like, go ahead, say it then. Who the GOAT? Who the GOAT? Who the GOAT? Who the GOAT? Who you bitches really rooting for? Like a kid that had bad from January to November, nigga, it's just you and Cole. Big as the what? Big as the what? Big as the what? Big as the Super Bowl. Niggas so thirsty to put me in beef. Dissecting my words and start looking too deep. I look at the tweets and start sucking my teeth. I'm letting it rock cause I love the mystique. I still wanna give me a song where I be.
And the Combine talk's just like really heating up. Feels like we have the same conversation every Friday. Because it's just like all 4 of us ganging on Bob Casey, and then he just swears he's the GOAT quarterback of GOAT quarterbacks. So it'll be excited to see this weekend like some actual BDGE skills put to the test, be on film, and have actual expectations. Besides that, we are officially kind of in the off season where, you know, the Super Bowl was 2 weeks ago now, but now that it's like 2 weeks past, now we kind of understand like the habits, the schedules, and the roles of what week to weeks look like in the off season. Just getting ready for that. Hoping shit starts warming up soon. Still like in the 20 degrees this week, but next week it should be in like the 30s. Isn't a massive difference, but it is a difference between having to deal with snow or not. So fuck snow, fuck New York. Warm up just a little bit, please, and I'll love you a lot more. Anything else, Joe? Played Wavelength today. Rough outing for me and my Pookie Bear Casey. Just gonna leave it at that. Don't want to spoil the video.
Oh, I did, like JMO said, vote performance and Wavelength, but I did make a Wavelength board for the first time. But I didn't host it. Nick hosted it. I like to think I did a pretty good job mixing up the categories, giving something a little bit different. I find out real quick when you're making the board that coming up with the numbers is a little bit tougher. I feel like a lot of the tendencies we do is like it's either we're both low numbers, both middle numbers, or both high numbers, or one's super high, one's super low. So I was trying to find like a good number range where it's like not too low, not too high, like somewhere not in the middle, but figuring out that dynamic where it's like put you in a blender. When like you see that number and you see the fucking category, you're like, how am I supposed to get like that niche? So I think it was pretty cool. Hopefully you guys like it. If you don't like it, Forget everything I just said. I did not make the board. It was somebody else. It was a fan or Jamo made it. Yeah, other than that, Gut's not here for a song of the week. Left. I don't know where he went. Obviously, he went home. So, song of the week. Fly Me to the Moon. Frank Sinatra. The GOAT. Jersey bred. Jersey born. Man was slinging it before slinging it was even a thing. Fly Me to the Moon, Frank Sinatra. Take us out, Frank. Wrap this log up. Serenade me as the BDGE logo pops up.
Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore.